Hi. uh, these video segments I maybe should call over my shoulder or something like that. I'm not sure what, but or live online with Free Market Monkey or whatever. But anyway, you're on the Free Market Monkey YouTube channel. Um, I also write the Free Market Monkey blog, and I have a Twitter presence, Free Market Monkey. Um, so you can find me at those places. Um, what we're going to get into today is a little segment about solar eclipses. I really love solar eclipses and have experienced two of them in my lifetime and hope to catch two more. Um, so let me go through these. So look at some websites and look at the two solar eclipses that we're not going to actually look at pictures of the eclipses. We're going to look at maps and so forth. But anyway, let's get on with it. Okay. I have several web pages already teed up and ready to go, so we can take a look at those. Here's one from NASA, Amazing Facts, Little Known Facts About Solar Eclipses. You can look at the in the sidebar, and then also as the bullet points. Some of the more interesting things are that the path of totality can only be 167 miles wide at the most, and the duration of totality can only be 7.5 minutes at the most. You see here in the sidebar at the equator, the shadow travels at 1,100 miles an hour, and up toward the pole around 5,000 miles an hour. So that's why these things can't last too long. It just turns out that our moon is everything is just in the right proportion. The size of our sun and our distance from it, and the size of our moon and its distance from us, to even be able to have these solar eclipses. And if one ever happens right where you live, you're very lucky, because in that situation, you're experiencing something that on average only would happen once out of every 360 years. You see, and you can of course pause this at any time to read the bullet points. One of the really interesting things about the solar eclipse is the temperature drop. It's substantial, it's noticeable, and of course it in itself should raise some obvious questions about climate change and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, the thing is about a solar eclipse is that all the cool stuff, anything that's really neat about a solar eclipse, happens right at, during, and as a consequence of that brief period of totality when you're in the shadow and the sky goes dark and the stars come out and the temperature drops and crazy things happen right before totality, where you can get shadow bands, which are I've experienced once in the first eclipse that I've experienced. And so I'll just go through this now. This is the first eclipse that I experienced. This was March 7th of 1970. I was 18 years old. I was at Penn State University. We were here in Pennsylvania, so we were fairly close to the path, but most of this here is out over the ocean. So the choices were either to go up to Massachusetts and catch it where it crossed right over Nantucket Island. That was an option. Or drive south and go to Virginia Beach, Virginia, which would have been the next nearest point. Yeah, we zoom in some more. So you see, we're up here in Pennsylvania, center of Pennsylvania, and our choices were head south, okay, or right there we're crossing Nantucket Island, but then we would have had to get the ferry to the island, and we figured, that's not going to work out too well. So we went to Virginia Beach. So there we are, standing right on the beach, right on the boardwalk actually, and there was beach, and then there was buildings right along the beach. And fortunately, we got to experience the shadow bands. The shadow bands are bands, parallel kind of bands of shadow that right before totality, and I think right after totality also, these bands will come like kind of whipping across the landscape. And it was really amazing because those buildings standing right there on the beach, all of a sudden it was like somebody put a strobe light on them. I can't begin to explain the experience. This is an act of nature that is so amazing. On these maps, by the way, the yellow lines represent 10-minute intervals. So for the shadow to go from here to here would be 10 minutes. And of course, that shadow is a round circle, be more oblong, egg-shaped till you get out here toward the extremes of the path. But in this area here, and it just comes zipping along. So that's why you want to be on the red line if you can, or as close to it as possible, because your length of totality is going to be greatly diminished when you're off the red line. The red line is going to always give you the maximum length of totality, or close to the red line, in that area around the red line. Now, let's go to, if I can find it here. Okay, that takes us to February 26, 1998. And you see the path of this total eclipse. I was actually on a, just turn this off. And center, zoom in. Oh, perfect. I actually saw this eclipse from the deck of a cruise ship, right about here, right out in the Caribbean, off the coast of Venezuela. There were a lot of people in Aruba. Aruba was packed. A lot of people went to Aruba to see the eclipse there. But we were out on the deck of a cruise ship in the Caribbean, so that was pretty neat. And also that eclipse lasted over 4 minutes. Totality lasted 4 minutes and 8 seconds at its max, and we were probably close to 4 minutes out here. So that was really enjoyable, having that length of time at totality. Now, those are the two. And I didn't see the shadow, didn't take notice to any shadow bands with this one. Let's jump ahead now to the two coming up that I hope to see. And the next one is really significant. This comes up in only 4 years, 2017, August 21st, 2017. We are going to have a total eclipse that traverses the entire continental, or contiguous, I guess, United States. It'll come on the shore here at Washington, cross the whole way across the country, and exit just north of Charleston, South Carolina. So the great thing is, most people in the United States can get to the path of totality. Even from up here in the Northeast, this is a pretty easy one-day drive to get into the path. And also, this affords the opportunity to do some planning, because here we are. We have 4 more years to go until August of 2017, and the time is really now. When you're out and about, when you're near these areas, pick possible locations where you might want to view this eclipse. The one thing that I've kind of thought, I don't know if this makes any sense or not, I think it does, But the one thing that I thought would be really neat would be to catch this eclipse, since the shadow will be traveling from west to east. In this fashion, it would be kind of really neat to catch. It would be kind of really neat to try to catch this eclipse at a high elevation, somewhere we're just getting into the Appalachians here, Tennessee, and you're looking out, and right out here you're essentially in the plains. And if you could find a high location somewhere along in here, where then by looking west, you would be able to see this shadow coming across the landscape for miles until it gets to where you are. Maybe see the shadow coming for as long as like 3-4 minutes. See the shadow coming before the shadow actually gets to where you are. Now, the only downside of the 2017 eclipse is that unfortunately, it's one of the shorter ones. Well, I wouldn't say one of the shorter because they get even shorter than this, but totality will last 2 minutes and 40 seconds at this point right here. Okay, the point of greatest eclipse, which is near Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Actually, will be the point of greatest eclipse. But anywhere along this line, and that's the really neat thing. Charleston, South Carolina, you can see north of Charleston. In between Charleston and Myrtle Beach, it'll go off the coast. But the whole way across America, that's how you can tell where you want to be. Scout out the areas, refer to this map, and plan ahead, because this truly is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And the reason why you're going to want to have alternate locations is because, of course, the weather. I couldn't imagine having. I was fortunate for both of my first 2 solar eclipses. The skies were perfectly clear. But this is something that, with reasonable 2 to 3 day out weather forecasts, the possibility to be somewhere along this path where and have a cloudless sky is, of course, greatly enhanced. So you can see how you want to scout this out, and now's the time to start looking for these places, and so on. We're going to jump ahead now to the last, what I hope to be my last total solar eclipse. I'd be 73 years old in 2024. But this one, up out of Mexico, up across the eastern part of the United States, central and into the northeastern part of the United States. And the same thing applies there. Now, of course, we're a lot further off for planning purposes, but so there's another chance in the lifetime of most people alive today in the United States to catch 2 total solar eclipses without leaving the country. And we'll end it there. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll do it again some other time.